Ever have one of those days where you think you're going home to peace and quiet, and instead you step into a circus with your name on the billboard? Yeah, that was me rolling up to my family farm in Ohio, thinking I'd find nothing but the sound of the wind through the wheat and maybe the lazy cluck of a chicken. Instead, what do I see? Bulldozers chewing up 3 generations of Reeves farmland and runway markings, actual runway markings, sprayed from my barn right out to the back fence. And who's at the center of this beautiful disaster? Prudence Blackwell, our HOA president, arms crossed, sunglasses flashing like she just single-handedly invented farming. My phone buzzes. Mr. Secretary, Air Force One, requesting clearance. That's when it hits me, this HOA lady just declared war on the only guy in America who can actually shut down every airport in the country. Now you might be wondering, how the hell did we get here? So let me drag you back 8 months. Trust me, it's worth it. Name's Jackson Reeves. 6 months ago, I got a new job. United States Secretary of Transportation. Yeah, that's right. Highways, railroads, airports, all mine to worry about. But instead of enjoying my corner office in D.C., I'm up to my ankles in manure on my own family farm, playing chicken with a woman who treats HOA bylaws like the 10 Commandments. This farm's been in my family since 1923. My great-granddad literally broke his back pulling stumps out of this land during the Great Depression. The house is as old as it smells, built in 47 red barns still standing from before I was born, and every inch of it soaked with the sweat and memories of 4 generations. My dad, Harold, he's 78 now, needs both hands just to hold his morning coffee, and the man's arthritis is so bad every movement costs him. Surgery costs 30 grand. Medicare, of course, says farming doesn't count as real work. My wife Elena, don't even get me started. She can sniff a clump of dirt and tell you the exact pH moisture and whether or not it'll rain next Thursday. Kept us profitable when bigger farms were folding left and right. The smell of her homemade bread used to be the best thing for miles until some city folks decided to move in. That's when Meadowbrook Estates popped up next door. 47 shiny houses, all promising country living, if country living means no animals, no smells, no mud, and certainly no actual farming. We went from rooster crows and the scent of bread to the sweet chemical sting of lawn treatments and a 7 a.m. leaf blower symphony. County rezoning worked its magic, and surprise, suddenly our farm fell under their HOA. That's like giving a fox the keys to the hen house. Then enters Prudence Blackwell. 60-ish retired insurance adjuster, came here for tranquility, then filed 23 complaints about farm noises and animal odors. This woman, I kid you not, measures grass with a ruler. Takes pictures of cow pies to build evidence files. Treats a rooster crowing like it's a felony. She's run the HOA for 2 years, and let's just say she rules with a velvet fist over a kingdom of manicured lawns and zero tolerance for reality. About half the folks actually like the farm. They buy Elena's tomatoes, bring their kids over to see the calves, understand that sometimes boots get muddy. The other half, Prudence's tribe, thinks they bought into a Hallmark movie where the cows only pose for pictures. And 6 months ago, she made her big move, hired some surveyor who discovered out of thin air that our driveway crossed a county easement no one's heard about in 60 years. Then she hands me a bill, $75,000 for usage fees, plus $5 grand a month going forward just to use my own driveway. I'm standing there holding that invoice, and all I can think is I run national transportation, and this is the battle I get. No one here knows my job. As far as they're concerned, I'm just Harold's son. I try to handle it neighbor to neighbor. Big mistake. I'm about to learn just how low some people will go. A couple weeks later, she finds out our septic permit is expired, which on a farm is about as likely as a cow joining the NBA. She files a formal complaint. Now the county health inspector's poking around trying to scrape mud off his shoes, telling us we might have to shut down for 6 months right before harvest. It doesn't take a genius to see what's happening. Prudence wants to destroy us, not just inconvenience us. Lucky for me, I've seen enough bureaucracy to know where the skeletons are buried. Turns out farms can apply for emergency exemptions during harvest. I file the paperwork, then get a little creative. If Prudence wants to play dirty, I can too. I check the records for her house and guess what, her septic permit's out of date along with 15 others. Monday morning, I file my own set of complaints. Suddenly, the same health inspector who strutted around here has to check 47 homes. Now it's their turn to sweat. Prudence calls screaming about harassment. The irony's thick enough to spread on toast. Inspections come we pass, but 19 homes including Prudence's fail. Illegal pool deck built without permits, $15,000 in fines. I'm not proud, but it felt like Christmas morning. Elena offers to help our neighbors her fee, only no markup. Within 2 weeks, half the HOAs switched sides. Dad's best friend from Korea runs the county health department, and wouldn't you know it, suddenly, things move fast for us. Still, Prudence isn't done. She's just warming up. Enter Bradford Sinclair, a property optimization specialist, who shows up in a BMW suit worth more than our mortgage. For 15 grand, he'll ruin your life professionally. And he does slaps us with 52 violations barn incompatible with residential character chickens, 2 agricultural fence unesthetic, $1,500 a day until we sell out. My blood's boiling. But here's the twist. I remember a little thing called right to farm laws. Farms were here first, and those laws are built to protect us from exactly this kind of crap. So I file a federal complaint for rural lifestyle targeting, and just for fun apply for a $75,000 USDA grant that locks us in as a farm for the next decade. Bradford counters by getting our story on TV, spinning it as progress versus backward farmers. The news reporter asks if I'll modernize for the neighbors. Meanwhile, Bradford shoots himself in the foot on air, calling us 1950s relics. By morning, I'm getting calls from angry farmers across 3 counties. Then Elena, the real hero, digs up the big secret. Bradford's company is owned by the same people who sold the subdivision. Buyers were promised a future airstrip. Our farm sits right where the runway needs to be. They've been trying to wipe us out so the rich folks can park their planes. Elena finds emails, contracts, investor lists, even the FAA rejection letter. Turns out the only reason their airport hasn't been built is our barn, our house, and our 100-year-old oak. To them, we're just an obstacle, a $2.2 million problem to solve. And the ringleader Prudence, who sunk her life savings into the airport scam? Now my security team, the feds who'd been keeping an eye out, let me know Bradford's company is already under investigation for interstate fraud. Similar schemes, hundreds of families forced out airports that never materialized. That night, Elena finds me sitting in the barn, just breathing in the old smells of leather and feed, and says, "Jack, this is bigger than us." She's right. If I don't use my position to stop them, what good is having it? Next day, Dad seals it for me. If you can stop these crooks, and don't, you're as bad as they are. So I call the federal task force. They've got enough to arrest Bradford, but want to catch him red-handed. Wouldn't you know it, Bradford tries to bribe our county inspector with 10 grand to fudge paperwork. That's the moment the dominoes start falling. Within days, Bradford's out there desperate, faking public safety emergencies, filing for emergency seizure of our land. But he forgets one thing: you can't build an airport without the feds. Elena, burning the midnight oil, finds a survey showing our ancient oak grove is home to endangered Indiana bats. That's federal protection. She calls in a biologist who confirms it: 47 bats right in the flight path. At dawn, marshals arrive with orders. Any construction here is a federal crime. Bradford melts down, screaming, waving his arms, calling us environmental terrorists. His crew packs up so fast you'd think they were allergic to fresh air. But the real kicker comes when Agent Indigo calls. They've got Bradford on tape trying to destroy records, bribe officials, even discussing how to deal with that farmer. Now, it's not just fraud, it's threats against a federal official. We gather the team: Elena, Margaret, the lawyer, Dr. Whitmore, the bat guy, Pastor Williams, every farmer for miles. Elena's blowing up on YouTube with videos about rural rights. Dad's puffing his pipe saying, "Let the bully think he's winning until you knock him flat." Margaret brings RICO lawsuits, think mob takedowns, but for HOA scams. The kitchen turns into a war room. And then the final play. Monday night town hall at the high school. Bradford's hired a film crew to expose me as a corrupt federal official. He parades photos of my security detail, rants about abuse of power, whips up the investors. The place is packed: farmers, news crews, the whole county. My family by my side, federal agents waiting in the crowd, ready to pounce. Bradford grabs the mic, acting like he just cracked Watergate. He's not just a farmer, he's the Secretary of Transportation. He's been using his power to destroy us. The room explodes, cheers, boos, flashes. That's when I walk up calm as a man ordering coffee. You're absolutely right. I am Secretary of Transportation. Silence. Then I lay out every detail. The failed airport application, the fraud, the bribery, the threats. I flash my federal credentials. Every camera in the room catches it. Agent Indigo, would you please do the honors? The FBI moves in reading Bradford his rights. He goes pale, splutters about business activities, and the gym erupts as they slap cuffs on him. Then Margaret stands and announces Prudence's role, her investment, the money laundering, the whole scheme. Prudence goes from queen bee to pariah in 30 seconds. Her assets, frozen investors turning on her, she slinks out while the crowd cheers. Federal protection locks in our farm forever. The bat's the barn. The whole spread now a conservation area. Elena's programs are booked solid, our property value up, local kids learning real farming, and the harvest festival is bigger than ever. Dad gets his surgery covered by a legitimate grant. Margaret sets up a legal clinic for other farm families. Bradford. Last I heard, he's trading his suit for an orange jumpsuit. Here's what I learned, and I mean really learned in my bones. The law, when it works, isn't about power or paperwork. It's about the people willing to fight for what's right, who remember that justice is built on 1,000 small acts of courage. Sometimes the world lines up against you, and sometimes it tries to buy you out or run you off or shame you into silence. But the ground you stand on, it's worth more than anyone will ever pay. And no amount of money justifies stealing a family's legacy. So here we are, our farm now, a beacon for others. The land preserved, the bullies gone. But let me ask you this. Where should the line be drawn? At what point does defending your home turn into wielding your power too far? Does justice mean retribution or restoration? I want to hear your story. Drop a comment. Tell me your HOA horror or how you handled a bully. Because Bradford's arrest wasn't the end, it was just the first round in a bigger fight for rural America. And remember, sometimes the farmer next door controls more than you think.
Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video. Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video.